Good evening and welcome. Thanks for tuning in to NDTV 24/7. I'm Padmaja Joshi, and on every story that matters, the buck stops here. It's like the eternal unfulfilled fantasy of a few people in our country. A revolution, an uprising, a call to arms. People on the streets, authority figures dragged out and put to trial. First, it was the fantasy of replicating Nepal, and now, after the sentencing of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh, a rerun of Bangladesh in India is the fresh new hope in the hearts of some. So we have TMC MP Mahua Moitra putting out an image of Bangladesh's former election commissioner who was arrested for allegedly manipulating the elections and wondering whether this was a sign of things to come, presumably in India. Then Congress leader Digvijay Singh proffered advice that party workers should leave their rooms, get onto the streets and gherao all the officials who are involved in the next stage of SIR. And topping it all off was Robert Vadra and the RJD, who said that people are angry and it wouldn't be a surprise if Gen Z now got onto the streets in protest. By the way, they are not alone, because the originator of this entire call was Rahul Gandhi himself. He reached out to Gen Z. He said that the election was being stolen by the Election Commission. Priyanka Gandhi Vadra, during the Bihar elections, read out the names of each of the election commissioners and told the people to remember these names and make them accountable. Of course, in all of this, there is a perfunctory caveat as well, that all of this should be done in a peaceful fashion, but well, we all know how much that works.
हम कभी भी नहीं बोलेंगे कि जेन जी को इस तरीके से बाहर आना चाहिए, पर लोगों में गुस्सा तो है। जहां वो इलेक्शन हारते हैं तो गुस्सा तो है, वो जरूर बाहर आएंगे, वो अपने तरीके को, अपनी बात रखेंगे, अपना तरीका अपनाएंगे, पर हम नहीं चाहेंगे कि कोई भी लड़ झगड़ के या किसी को मार पीट के या कोई भी गलत तरीका इस्तेमाल करें अपनी बात रखने का या आंदोलन करने का। पर गुस्सा तो सब में है,
करना ही चाहिए। अगर उनको ये लगता है तो फिर आंदोलन होना चाहिए, और ऐसा आंदोलन होना चाहिए कि वो जमीन पर दिखे, धरातल पर दिखे।
That's right. Threats about street protests, an invocation to Gen Z, and from a DMK functionary, an outright declaration about getting rid of Narendra Modi. On the eve of the Prime Minister's visit to Coimbatore, DMK's Tenkasi South District Secretary V. Jayabalan was seen on stage declaring that Prime Minister Modi has to be eliminated if Tamil Nadu has to prosper, because he was using SIR to take away people's rights. While he said this, by the way, the local DMK MP and MLA were also seen in the video, but made no attempt to stop him. The point is this the next model, and the only model that now the opposition believes is going to work, that they've thrown their weight behind it? A Bangladesh model, if you will, asking citizens to take the law in their hands, ironically in the name of saving democracy. And it's exactly this kind of call that public-minded citizens are also raising their voice against. 272 people, including 16 judges, 123 retired bureaucrats, 14 former ambassadors, 133 armed forces veterans, all of them today wrote an open letter condemning Rahul Gandhi and the Congress party's attempts to tarnish constitutional bodies like the Election Commission. The letter expresses dismay at India's democracy being under assault, not by force, but by a rising tide of venomous rhetoric directed at foundational institutions. People of India are now speaking up against these calls to anarchy. The question is anyone listening?
देखिए, दिक्कत यह है कि 2014 के पहले जो सम्मानित प्रतिष्ठित नागरिक होते थे इस देश के, वो चुनी हुई सरकार से सवाल पूछते थे, क्योंकि सही भी है, सरकार के पास संस्थाएं हैं, संसाधन है, सत्ता है, उससे सवाल पूछा जाता है। ये लोग राहुल गांधी से सवाल पूछना चाहते हैं। राहुल गांधी जो लोकतंत्र को बचाने के लिए मजबूती से लड़ रहे हैं। मेरा अपना मानना है कि राहुल गांधी ने चुनाव आयोग का पर्दाफाश एलिगेशंस के साथ नहीं, सबूतों के साथ किया है। इन सबूतों को देखकर क्या इन 272 लोगों ने अपनी आंखों पर पट्टी बांध ली है? और इनमें से कोई भी एक चुनाव आयोग का व्यक्ति क्यों नहीं है?
राहुल गांधी एलओपी लीडर ऑफ ऑपोजिशन नहीं, लीडर ऑफ प्रोपेगेंडा है। और जिस प्रकार से उन्होंने एक प्रकार की सुपारी ली है भारत के संवैधानिक संस्थाओं के खिलाफ, वो केवल देश में ही नहीं बल्कि विदेश में भी जाकर भारत की संवैधानिक संस्थाओं पर कुठाराघात करते हैं। उनकी दादी माँ ने इमरजेंसी लगाई थी, संवैधानिक संस्थाओं को कुचला। अब पोताजी भी वही करते हैं। जब चुनाव जीतते तब चुनाव आयोग ठीक, वरना चुनाव आयोग गलत। अगर कोर्ट केस जीते तो जुडिशरी ठीक, वरना जुडिशरी गलत। इसलिए परिवार तंत्र को लोकतंत्र के ऊपर रखते हैं। और जब भी परिवार तंत्र हारता है, 95 चुनाव हारे, तो बोलते लोकतंत्र पे खतरा आ गया, इंडिया इज इंदिरा, अब राहुल इज इंडिया हो गया है।
And that brings us to the big questions on which the buck stops here. Do the opposition parties have more faith now in the model of street justice than in the courts, the election commission of our country? And in the name of saving democracy, are they now trying to incite violence after losing in the people's court in the elections? Joining us on the debate, Rohan Gupta, national spokesperson of the BJP, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, political analyst, Dr. Jayant Jigyasu, national spokesperson of the RJD, and in a while we'll be joined by Karan Verma, political analyst as well. I have to start by asking you, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, I mean, when did things come to such a pass that now you're basically saying we're going to resort to violence? Digvijay Singh says कांग्रेस के लोगों को बंद कमरों में बैठने की बजाय सड़क पर उतर के एसआईआर में संलग्न बीएलओ से लेकर जितने भी शासकीय कर्मचारी, अधिकारी, मतदाता सूची कार्य में संलग्न है, उन्हें घेरना चाहिए. सो यू आर बेसिकली नाउ गोइंग टू यूज द रूल ऑफ द मॉब. व्हाई?
Padmaja, you are such a senior journalist, and I believe you must have covered the elections during TN Sessions' time also. And I understand the debate that you are organizing today, it's itself a proof how the election commission has been biased, that there has been a total breakdown of the constitutional framework with which it has been created. And today what we see, a biased, a totally compromised election commission, which only heeds to what Narendra Modi ji and Amit Shah ji are saying. If it was not, because a simple saying is there, the Caesar's wife must be above suspicion. Now, what do we see out here? We see out how
Mr. Chaudhary, so if you're saying that Caesar's wife is not above suspicion, according to your standards, you are going to drag Caesar's wife out on the road and beat her up.
Padmaja,
and just by the way, when Mr. T.N. Session was the election commissioner, I was in school. Thank you for your kind words, but I was in school at that time. Nonetheless.
Padmaja, very important debate tonight. Let me just finish it. When the Supreme Court ruled on how the election commissioner should have been appointed, Amit Shah ji brought a law in the parliament to overturn the Supreme Court verdict. Now, if that was not a starting point of how election commissions, the faith in our democratic processes was disturbed because of that simple one legislation that Amit Shah ji brought. Even the ECI's misdeeds could not be criminalized. They brought in a law. They are refusing to submit machine-readable data of the electoral voter list. Their refusal to provide the CCTV data. Their refusal to act on vote kharidi of the 10,000 rupees that was sent by Modi ji just 1 week before the elections in Bihar. They refuse to accept on a number of issues that the Congress party and the entire opposition have been asking of this thing.
So what are you going to do?
Rhetoric?
So what are you going to do?
Now, what the election commission asked us to submit an affidavit. What the hell? Why do you want us to submit the affidavit when you are the umpire, you are the judge?
So instead, what are you going to do? Again, I'm asking you the question, what does Digvijay Singh mean when he says कि सड़कों पर उतर करके BLO को घेर लो? What are you suggesting?
Now, listen to me now. Now, if we as opposition are not getting justice even in the Supreme Court, when the Supreme Court says, please go to the Election Commission of India. Rahul Gandhi had brought out a number of press conferences exposing the vote cherry of the Election Commission along with the BJP. What did the Election Commission do? They are coming out and saying, so then
what are you going to do? Answer the question, Mr. Chaudhary. You've been beating around the bush for the last 5 minutes. So what are you suggesting should be done next?
Beating around the bush, the question is, the election commission should get its act together, act in an impartial manner. Otherwise, the frustration level among the opposition in this country is simply going into a territory which neither you nor I will want. The statements that are coming out from, let's say, Digvijay Singh or maybe Robert Vadraji or maybe XYZ from the opposition, these are not mere words. These are echoing the sentiments of the voter who are opposed to the BJP or the NDA.
No,
Now,
I
you
don't think
must
they are
respect-
echoing the sentiments of the voter at all. Just because your echo chamber has a certain voice doesn't mean that becomes the voice of the voter. The voice of the voter, sir, is not reflected on the streets. The voice of the voter is reflected in the polling booth. If there is a test of democracy and the voice of the voter in our country, there is only one place, the polling booth and the EVM, and that, sir, has given you a message which you refuse to listen to. Rohan Gupta, but speaking of the opposition, I will leave the voter out of it, but the opposition at least is completely disillusioned, they are disenchanted, and now perhaps they are desperate and they are not even giving a veiled threat anymore. They are saying you refuse to get your act together and they are going to make you hear the voice of the streets. Rohan Gupta, what are you going to do about it?
Padmaja, this clearly shows their frustration because they are not able to win the confidence of the people. We just had one of the biggest elections in Bihar. They lost completely. Rather than accepting that they have lost and doing introspection, they are doing assault on the constitutional institutions. If they were so sure about vote chori, they shouldn't have fought election. If they were so sure of vote chori, after SIR, why they accepted the new voter list? If they were so sure of vote chori, 65 lakh voters were deleted. You give me one example of Congress party or any other party coming out and saying that ye aadmi ka vote chala gaya. On other side, they were doing this vote chori for so many years. When they are saying that the 65 lakh voters who have been removed were our voters, and those 65 lakh voters, if they don't exist, that means what, Padmaja?
But Rohan Gupta, they're saying it's not a crime to protest in our country. There is a democratic right to protest, and Robert Vadra is saying, look, we don't want violence. We just want the people's voice to be heard on the streets.
I am not, Padmaja, that is why I'm saying I am completely with you, but not attacking the constitutional institution and questioning the whole democratic process. You have to go in the people's court. You have lost there. At least accept the defeat with grace, rather than doing this, because what they are trying to do, Padmaja, is to ensure that their workers and voters, in order that they don't get demotivated, they are saying, nahi, hum to nahi haare hain, hum to iske karan haare hain. They are not going into reasoning why Mahagathbandhan was not properly constituted. They are not going into the reasoning why Jangal Raj people are not able to forget. They are not going into the reasoning why 20 years of rule of NDA
Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
To the people.
Quick response.
They are not able to get the pulse of the
people have rejected you, so you are now hitting the streets. Anarchy can never be an answer to elections.
Padmaja, I come from a state where 34 years left front had manipulated the election system in the state. Somehow or the other stuck to the power. But what they did was they manipulated in a very different way. But ye to Bharatiya Janata Party and the Election Commission together.
It's amazing you mentioned that, because in all that time, despite you sitting here and saying that the left front manipulated the elections and stayed in power for decades, sir, not once did we hear you talking about vote chori. I'm really glad you brought that up. It happened in Tripura. Tripura, there was an unbroken reign of the left front, of the left, in that state as well. Never once in this country have we heard the word vote chori. The Congress party nationally had an unbroken run for close to 7 decades, close to 5 decades. Nowhere did we hear other parties say कि आप vote चोरी करके 55 साल सत्ता में बने रहे. Why does that emerge only now? Only because for 11 years you've been out of power.
Padmaja, one thing you must
understand. And if people are not putting you back to power, you say we are going to take it back by hook or by crook. We will hit the streets. We will turn India into Bangladesh.
The point is very obvious. I had pointed out how Amit Shah and his companies have looted the election commission right from appointment of the election commissioner to the declaration of the voter list. You see, previous occasions when SIR were organized, there was a time of around 4 to 5 months were given.
So what was the hurry
that within 2 months?
What's the redressal for that, sir? Is the redressal to march up to the election commissioner and drag him out?
Who will
listen? Is the redressal for that to block BLOs? Is the redressal for that to say we are going to mark out each and every single EC or CEC in this country? What are you suggesting is the redressal if indeed you think that all your efforts and demands are being frustrated? What is the redressal?
One simple question that I'm asking you, Padmaja. Just let us reboot the entire system. Let us go back to the Supreme Court's directive of appointing the ECIs. Let the Election Commission of India function independently or without any political influence, then come back to the electoral table.
But
and let's
sir,
debate
that is
once
your
again.
impression. Nobody can make changes to satisfy your impression. That
This is
needn't
not the-
necessarily
this
be
is
the
the way
reality.
that the Gen
I will
Z of
tell you
this
what the
country are
redressal
becoming
is.
frustrated.
Actually, for all of your complaints, and I will come to Karan Verma next, for all of your complaints, Kamruzaman Chaudhary, there is a forum. And you know what that forum is? Every time you say that Amit Shah is manipulating the process, every time you say that the Election Commission is manipulating the electoral rolls, there is a forum available in India to address all of your complaints and all of your frustrations, and that forum is the various courts of law. And it's not as if the Congress party and others haven't gone into courts of law with these specific complaints. But despite that, the order has not been in their favor, and Karan Verma, the option to that apparently is, if the order is not in your favor, you get onto the streets. But it's just frustration, says Kamruzaman Chaudhary.
So Padmaja, 4 facts need to be put on record here. 0 appeals during the SIR, 0 vote recountings after the result has come, no demand for CCTV footage. They keep crying about it. 45 days, the period is still on. 0 demands for CCTV footage. 100% accuracy in whatever VVPAT slips have been matched with the EVM. These are the 4 things on record. And another thing that I want to put on record, Padmaja, is since 2011, for Kamruzaman to wax eloquent, 2011 onwards, not a single Congress government has ever come back to power. Why is it that Congress has won states in the past, be it Rajasthan, Chhattisgarh, but they are never ever re-elected? Because they managed to squander away the mandate. They managed to make sure that when they were in power in Rajasthan, Rajasthan had the highest rate of rapes, the highest unemployment, the highest inflation. So they need to start looking within. कमरूज़मान जी की गलती यही है, ताउम्र यही गलती करती रही कांग्रेस, धूल चेहरे पे थी, आईना साफ करती रही. It's time the Congress looked within. And when you say that you have the right to protest on the streets, you have the right to protest, but you cannot defame people. There are forums, as you rightly said, for defamation. It is the courts where they've landed up with a foot in their mouth. And for Kamruzaman to say that this is how the Election Commission should be appointed and the SC should be a part of it, I want to ask him, before now, was there a single election where the SC was a part of it? In fact, the opposition leader was also not a part of it. So, let's not try to misguide the people, and it's time, Kamruzaman, you started giving a reality check to Congress and started questioning Rahul Gandhi. Why after 95 electoral losses? What does it take for you to get up and question him? He's lost 95 elections. Will you ever muster the courage to question the Parivar?
Karan Verma ji, you always come on debate and you quote Shah Banu judgment, how Rajiv Gandhi overturned the Shah Banu judgment. My simple question out here, why did Amit Shah have to overturn the Supreme Court directives on appointment of election commissioner? Why did the Supreme Court not
But Mr.
hear
Chaudhary,
our
like we have been
petitions?
trying to explain to you from the beginning, that the answer to that cannot be given on a TV debate or by hitting the streets or by gherawing the BLOs. The answer to that can be given in a court of law. And you have gone to courts of law where they haven't given you the time of day. Again and again, you have approached the Madras High Court, the Bombay High Court, the Supreme Court. You have even challenged the use of EVMs, and they have told you that your appeals have got zero substance. And that perhaps, and that's where I want to bring in Jayan Jigyasu. I heard one of your spokespersons says, Andolan karna chahiye. Sir, Andolan to aapne kiya tha even before the Bihar elections. And I want to just point out some data to you. Bihar, by the way, since you keep talking about Gen Z, you have 57 to 58% of the population under the age of 25. And this so-called Gen Z that you keep appealing to is 25% of the registered voters. Literally, Bihar means that Gen Z has told you they do not believe in your vote chori narrative. The problem is that you may do आंदोलन, Gen Z आपके आंदोलन में participate नहीं करेगी. जयन जिज्ञासु जी, उनको नहीं फर्क पड़ रहा है आप जो बोल रहे हैं उससे.
See, we have earned democracy through movements, through resistance, through non-violence and truth. And we follow the very path of socialist ideas. And this is the right of the people of India to register their resistance whenever there are serious allegations against an institution which is responsible for conducting free and fair elections. And the very appointment and functioning of the ACI, when it's so much inclined towards the ruling dispensation, it is the duty of the ACI to address all those issues which are before them. But unfortunately, the whole process is so arbitrarily done, and the ECI has not learnt any lesson from the exercise done in Bihar. The very role of the ECI is different from the role of Home Department. But here we are witnessing that there is clear-cut violation of its boundaries. So my simple question here is that any kind of doubt which arise in the mind of the people of this country should be addressed, and the credibility of the institution should be restored. And no institution in this country is infallible. I want you to remember when T.N. Seshan was the election commissioner and started giving political statements, there was a heated debate in the Lok Sabha, and the member of the parliament from the CPM, Somnath Chatterjee, stressed that this is not the function of the ECI to conduct elections in such a manner that for continuously 4 months.
Okay, quick response from Karan Verma, then I'm going back to Rohan.
So, you know, for Jayanji, you are not the only one speaking, please.
When there is no deduplication software you are providing, and the same person is casting vote in Delhi, in Bihar, in Haryana, in Gujarat. This is total mockery of democracy.
Work and evolve.
I also reside in Delhi.
If he's not going to keep quiet, how do I go on speaking?
But
even VVPATs, Padmaja.
This is the resistance. No. This is the resistance, and resistance is a democratic right. So basically, we are back to that whole Shaheen Bagh CA where the buzzword is going to be resistance.
So, Padmaja, you pointed out about the Gen Z. You know, you'll be surprised. I think everyone should know this. The biggest Gen Z population in our country comes from Bihar. And what a testament to the spirit of Gen Z, that Gen Z is not swayed by Tejasvi dancing on the highway and making a reel. They are not swayed by that. They are swayed by concrete deliverables. And that is what they voted. And they are not going to. For them to say Nepal ban jayega, Bangladesh ban jayega, Gen Z has told you loud and clear, they mean business, they mean jobs, they mean development. And you know, for him to say, how do forums evolve and how do institutions evolve? You know, Padmaja, back before 2013, you did not have VVPAT slips. Litigants approached the courts, and it was the Supreme Court that ordered that yes, to improve the credibility of the institution, you need VVPATs. So if you have something, at least give a formal appeal, give a formal affidavit. You have the guts to not even give a formal complaint and then take to the streets. And that is the definition of anarchy.
And I again want to point out that this is a single election where you didn't have a single round of repolling. There were no appeals made against any of the seats that have polled.
Recounting.
You are sitting and you are making all these claims on social media and on TV, but not a single seat has seen any appeal. Why not, Jayan Jigyasu? All of these things that you are saying on TV and social media, go ahead. File an election petition. You have 45 days for it.
Padmaja, you know the very rule of the ECI. There is an observer at the counting center. Whenever there are any kind of discrepancy, the candidate or the election agent on the table of the returning officer reaches the very observer and gives the complaint in writing. And we have done it on many seats.
You've not done it on a single one.
No,
he's lying. Padmaja, this needs to be checked. Not a single complaint has been given. In fact, they've signed Form 17C. Form 17C tells you that we are completely satisfied with what has happened.
Please don't do it.
Why did you sign Form 17C? No, you can't get away with this. You can't get away with this.
No, don't do this.
Neither in the SIR, nor on the counting day, nor when the results have come, you've given a single complaint officially.
As far as approaching the court is concerned, we will certainly do it.
Not just the courts, Padmaja, they've not even approached the ECI for it.
But what is the role of the ECI?
You've not given a single complaint, you are lying on national television.
to
Ask
get
for the
dictation
CCTV,
from
have the
Home
guts to
Ministry,
ask for it
to
today.
get the dictation from the office
Not
of the
even
Chief
the courts,
Minister.
they've not even approached the ECI
So
with
they
anything
have
formal.
they have done total mockery of democracy, and I am
You are
telling
doing a mockery
this
of the
is not
electoral
a-
process here.
Please,
That
please
is why
stop.
you are reduced
This
to a
is
joke
not-
by the people.
This is not
Today
an
you are a
issue
running
of
joke in Bihar
addition
because of this mockery
or
that you are doing on
deletion
television
of
right now.
voters. This is the issue of
You need to
serving
wake
the
up and
interests
smell the coffee
of
before you
a
are
party
reduced to
through backdoors.
figures of Jan Suraj.
And we have
You are in
serious
competition with them next if
allegations.
you
The way
continue
the
this
ECI
propaganda, this grammar of
performed
anarchy.
in very impartial manner, arbitrary manner, and the whole country is doubtful of what is
Nobody is
being
doubtful.
done
Nobody
by
is
the
doubtful.
ECI.
They've given you a resounding mandate.
No.
Nobody is doubtful. Your existence is doubtful.
You keep saying we will go, and then what happens is that 45-day period lapses. Nobody goes with an election petition, and then you say we took time to put the data together. Sir, all this data, it's literally been, just a few days since the election results. I have seen you speaking about the result at Buxar. I have seen you speaking about how problems happened at other seats, in that seat of Sandesh close to Patna. Why haven't you filed an election petition? I have heard the RJD complain about at least 2 seats. Why haven't you filed an election petition? It has been now close to 5 days. Why haven't you filed an election petition? Because I suspect that you know that it may meet the same fate as some of your petitions in court did. And now I want to show you some of those examples.
election commission झाल बजाने के लिए.
Like I said, in this country, every time you have a problem with a process, you have a problem with a result, there is a forum that you can approach, and that is the various courts of our country. Just in the recent past, multiple such instances have taken place where the so-called vote chori issue has gone to court. What was the result of those petitions? Let's start with June 2025. The Bombay High Court junked a plea that alleged vote fraud in the Maharashtra elections. You know what the court said? The court said there is nothing on record that at any polling station, any untoward incident or fraud took place. We failed to discern how there was any fraudulent voting. This is what the Bombay High Court said. Then let's talk about September 2025. As recently as that, Madras High Court dismissed a plea that sought a clarification from the Election Commission on Rahul Gandhi's vote chori charge. The court called the PIL seeking that clarification completely misconceived. In fact, here is what the court's words were. Petition is vague, devoid of material particulars, lacks substantive evidence, founded solely on political claims and counterclaims, and a cost of 1 lakh rupees was imposed on the petitioner because that's how frivolous this particular PIL was. It didn't end there. There were even more efforts. In October 2025, the Supreme Court dismissed a PIL that sought an investigation into Rahul Gandhi's vote chori charge. The plea sought a court-monitored investigation by an SIT, and that plea was dismissed. It sought a probe into the electoral roll manipulation charge. That's as far as only 3 examples. And finally, in November last year, the Supreme Court rejected another, because this is another bogey, that we go back to ballot boxes. I heard a leader of the RJD say, agar ballot box se hota to hum jeet jate. This plea also went to the Supreme Court. The Supreme Court said the EVM is fine when you win, tampered with when you lose. You know what the plea said? It said that ballot boxes would be more free and fair than the EVMs. The thing is that this cannot be an excuse every time you lose elections. The Supreme Court's words, not mine. And even when the courts do not rule in your favor, you cannot threaten with a large-scale unrest. Jayant Jigyasu.
What happened? Padmaja Joshi ji, what was the response of the Election Commission when Samajwadi Party presented 18,000 affidavits from the people whose name were eliminated?
Actually, you're being economical with the truth. The Election Commissioner clarified that 18,000 pleas had not been given with evidence. They were absolutely clear. Rohan Gupta, what does one do? There is a complete confidence, lack of trust, lack of confidence, because the EC is acting in a stubborn manner.
The issue is, the basic issue is they also don't know what is their issue. I'll give you one example, very specific example. Let me complete my point. Please, you have been shouting, now listen to me. I was listening to you. This is not going to work. This is not going to work. Please listen to me.
Please speak.
No, please don't. I was listening to you. What are you talking? Being aggressive doesn't mean that you are true. You are defensive. You have lost the elections. Don't do this. पीपल नो इट. आपके बच्चे कुछ वोटर भी चले जाएंगे, ये मत करिए, ये मत करिए. बच्चे कुछ वोटर भी चले जाएंगे, वो सोचेंगे इनको वोट देने का मतलब ही नहीं है. एक सीट पे भाजपा 30 वोट से हारी है. वी हैव लॉस्ट टू बीएसपी ओनली बाय 30 वोट्स. वी हैव नॉट कंप्लेंट. Padmaja, I think this is not the way. I think this is really not the way.
One at a time,
He doesn't
please.
have
Yes.
any argument.
Why is there
And
a
he just
crisis
keeps
of
on
confidence?
shouting.
And what
I don't see
option?
this on
Just a
our show.
second. What option is the opposition left with if the EC is stubborn? Rohan Gupta.
See, I'll give you very specific example, Padmaja. After Maharashtra election loss, Congress party wrote to EC, Election Commission, with specific point, and I'm giving you specific date, December 24, 2024, Election Commission replied point-wise on each and every point. I really challenge on your debate today to Congress spokesperson, why you have not rebutted or why you have not gone back to EC and filed the counter-reply till today. If none of the answers, you are not happy or you are feeling that something wrong, why you are silent on that? So when you have a process, you follow the process, you don't have evidence, बाद में आप चले हल्ला हुआ हल्ला. आपकी प्रॉब्लम क्या है? बिहार में क्या कंप्लेन है? अगर रिकाउंटिंग नहीं हुआ है, फॉर्म 17 से ही शाम को आपके सारे एजेंट ने जो आंकड़ा था वही आंकड़ा निकला हुआ है, कहीं पे भी रीपोलिंग का कुछ इश्यू नहीं हुआ है, कहीं पे भी जो एसआईआर के खिलाफ कोई कंप्लेन नहीं है, तो आपकी आपत्ति क्या है? कहां वोट चोरी हुई? जो 65 लाख वोट निकल गए उसके खिलाफ कोई पार्टी ने कोई एक्शन नहीं किया. आप एग्जिट पोल को ये बता रहे थे कि गलत है. जो वोटिंग बढ़ गया आप ये कह रहे थे कि तो एंटी इनकम्बेंसी कारण हम जीतने वाले हैं. तो एक दिन में वो बात बदल कैसे गई? यू शुड बी वेरी क्लियर कि वोट चोरी हुई है तो पहले दिन बोलते ना. क्यों आप बड़े बड़े दावे करते चैनल पे आके कि एग्जिट पोल खत्म है, एंटी इनकम्बेंसी का वोट है.
And I want to just point out that in the case of Haryana and Maharashtra, Mr. Rahul Gandhi said that one of the main pieces of evidence that vote chori was done is that all the exit polls were predicting a win for the Congress in Haryana and Maharashtra. Now, going by the same logic, all the exit polls were predicting a win for the NDA in Bihar. Then there is no vote chori in Bihar, right? Because apparently exit polls are also a measure of whether vote chori is happening or not. All the exit polls predicted that there would be a win for the NDA. Then kahan ki vote chori hai? Lekin, and this is where I want to keep bringing back the debate to. The really worrying thing is, I want to play out for our viewers what Priyanka Gandhi and Rahul Gandhi said just a while ago. Digvijay Singh, Mrityunjay Tiwari, all these people are just taking a cue. This is a slow burn, that is being developed over time to keep saying there is a vote chori, there is a vote chori, courts are not listening to us, EC is obstinate, which is why the streets are the only option. In what way is this script being written? I want you to listen to both Rahul Gandhi and Priyanka Gandhi. Just listen to them, please.
बिहार से इन्होंने 65 लाख वोट काटे. हरियाणा में इसी तरह से चुनाव हुआ था. 25 लाख वोट इन्होंने फर्जी लगवाए. 25 लाख फर्जी वोट. हरियाणा का सारा चुनाव चोरी कर लिया. चोरी की सरकार है हरियाणा में और यहां की तैयारी कर रहे हैं. 65 लाख वोट कटवा के यही तैयारी यहां हो रही है. सुन लीजिए कौन है ये लोग, सुन लीजिए. कभी ज्ञानेश कुमार नाम सुना है? सुना है? नहीं सुना होगा, नहीं सुना होगा. कभी आपने ऐसे सांधु का नाम सुना है? नहीं सुना होगा. कभी विवेक जोशी का नाम सुना है? नहीं सुना होगा, क्योंकि अपने पद और आयोग के पीछे छुपे हुए हैं. लेकिन यही है चुनाव आयोग के सबसे ऊंचे अधिकारी जो इस देश के संविधान के साथ, इस देश के लोकतंत्र के साथ खिलवाड़ कर रहे हैं.
Khabr Samaj Chaudhary, this is not even, there isn't even a pretense. You're basically putting a target on the backs of the election commissioners. How does this become resistance?
No, Padmaja,
you are
don't be
telling
like an
a
ostrich.
crowd, you're telling a room full of people, a rally full of people, इनका नाम सुनो और ये पीछे छुप रहे हैं. अगर ये रिटायर भी हो जाएंगे तो इनको जवाबदेही करना. What is this supposed to mean?
Padmaja, please don't be an ostrich with your head buried in the sand. This Election Commission of India, along with the other earlier one, have to face the music one day or the other. I'll cite you one simple example, not from Bihar, UP, Haryana, from Assam. On 1st of January 2023,
what do you mean by face the music? What do you mean by face the music?
Because of their vote manipulation, vote chori, their macro management with the help of the BJP to manage and manipulate the entire elections.
Okay,
I'll
so
just come to that small example.
I think, sir,
I'll
again,
come to
any
that small
example that you
example
give
if
me, I cannot be the arbiter of whether it is right or wrong. It can only be the courts of law. But you clearly do not believe in those courts of law anymore. You have decided that you will make people, quote unquote, face the music. Now, in what fashion, we will just have to wait and see that unfold. I'm going to wrap it up over here, but I do think that the people of this country should pay close notice to the way in which this is being drummed up, this slow drumming up of an almost threat to people. If they are not agreeable to what the Congress or the opposition wants, they are almost being warned. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for joining me.